Welcome to the Backup Level Up podcast. I'm Khoshaba from Rewind, live from Atlassian Teams 26 in Anaheim, California, talking with founders, executives, and professionals about setbacks, incidents, and inflection points that shape how modern teams build, scale, and come back stronger in the age of AI and DevOps. I'm here with Paulo from Computas Opus. Paulo, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, my name is Paulo. I'm originally from Portugal, but I moved to Norway. I am an Atlassian Advisor, so I work with customers solving their problems when it comes to Atlassian, best practices in the products or customizing the products to their needs.
That's exciting. Paulo, what's something you genuinely enjoy most about your role at Computas Opus?
I think one of the things that I love the most are actually my customers, because I'm lucky enough to have customers that allow me to experiment. They're not too restrictive, like, oh, we're not allowed to use AI, or don't do too much customizations. It's customers that I have are generally like amazing, and they let me experiment with new things. And that has been generally fun.
Yeah, that sounds super fun because you get to work on different things and you have that autonomy and that power to help solve their problems.
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
That's exciting. So let's rewind a little bit here, Paulo. What originally pulled you into this space or this industry?
Yeah, so the first interaction that I had with Jira as a product was, I believe, 2013, 2012. I was tasked with creating issues in Jira, issues at that time, nowadays work items. I was tasked with automatically create issues in Jira based on signals that we had in internal systems. So if we detect a failure, automatically create a ticket. If that failure is resolved, automatically resolve the ticket. So we get an overview in Jira, like all the failures. Nowadays, you do those things with JSM operations, former Opsgenie, and so on. At that time, we're trying to use Jira for that. So my first question when I got that task was like, what is Jira? So I got to use Jira from like a developer point of view, from a REST API. Actually, not REST API, it was SOAP at that time. Good thing that that's gone. So I started Jira from the back end, from the REST API, and then I started learning about custom fields and schemas and projects and all
That's
spaces.
So cool. Yeah. So was there a specific moment where this actually shifted from an interest into something you seriously wanted to pursue?
Absolutely. I think it was the time when my previous employer, there was a recruiter that reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to apply for a position of Atlassian consultant. And I'm like, is that a thing? Can I be a consultant and work only on Atlassian? Because for me before it was just like, a side gig, like you just do some Jira stuff. You are a Jira administrator part-time. I was like, oh, wow, can you do this full-time as a career? So that's really what for me when the change happened, and then I realized, okay, I can go all in on this, try to be the best person that knows as much as possible about Jira, about Confluence, about Jira Service Management, specialize on that, and build a career around it.
That's so cool. So how did you go from that initial idea to something real, your first app or first meaningful traction? Can you explore that?
Yeah, it's recently I've been getting into building Forge apps, so apps for Jira, Confluence, Jira Service Management, and so. And I always start, like sometimes when I'm facing an issue or a challenge or something, I try to apply, okay, how can a Forge app gonna solve this? So for example, you're facing with like, okay, I have too many Jira filters that are not in use. Okay, let's build a Forge app for administrators to be able to clean up unused filters. So it's like almost like at my company with my colleagues is almost a running joke now. It's like every time that I raise my hand, it's like, yes, Paulo, you're going to build a Forge app for that. It's like trying to solve every problem with a Forge app. Not every problem should be solved with a Forge app, but so far I get that light bulb moment sometimes when I'm working with customers. I'm like, this is the perfect use case for a Forge app.
There you go. That's
because
perfect.
Because it's getting easier to maintain those Forge apps and so on. The platform, the team from Atlassian that works on the Forge platform, they've been incredibly helpful, very easy to approach. They listen to feedback, so it's been great.
That's great that you have that, that camaraderie and the relationship and networking that they actually listen to you and they take that
absolutely.
Yeah. So looking back, what was harder than you expected at that stage?
Yeah. I think throughout my career, I had a lot of moments where, you know, estimations is not exact science. So you estimate a project, it's like, okay, cloud migration, slightly on the complicated side. This might take up to 1 year. But what I always underestimate is the complexity of navigating throughout the organization, approvals and so on, regulations. Something that I've been talking to some of your colleagues as well about business continuity, which is a requirement for a lot of our customers. Like if the Atlassian platform is down, how can they still do the work that they're supposed to do? So imagine this scenario. The document that explains what you should do in Confluence, what you should do when Confluence is down, is in Confluence.
Yeah.
So it's this type of scenarios, this type of like regulations and processes like business continuity, cloud exit strategy, and so on, which a lot of our customers have, are sometimes a bit more challenging because they require working with teams that are not necessarily agile. Yes. You cannot say, you cannot go to a legal team and say, can you complete that in sprint 4? Yeah. They're like, no, we'll complete it. When we'll complete it? When is that going to be? We don't know. So yeah.
There's a lot of things that you can't control when you're forecasting timelines. Totally. Exactly. So what did you have to learn quickly?
I had to learn a lot about laws, like the regulations, DORA, GDPR, and things like that. Still not my forte, honestly, but it's something that I had to brush up my skills relatively quick.
That's great. Well, now we have great tools like AI that can help us with that.
Absolutely, yes.
So that could speed up the process. Let's focus on the turning point, Paulo. What was that moment when things really started to click for you? Was it a decision, a hire, a market shift? What actually changed the trajectory of your career?
Yeah, I think it was the moment when I joined my first team conference. That was Team 24, I believe. That was in Las Vegas.
Nice.
I was there and I was with my manager at the time. And that's when I realized, when I was watching the keynote, that's when I realized, in hindsight, maybe a bit too late, wow, this is not the Jira company anymore. So this is a massive platform. It's not the bug tracker for software developers anymore. I mean, I knew that in a sense, but it really hit me at once when you see, I think that was actually in Las Vegas when Rovo was introduced for the first time. And you realize, okay, this is what Atlassian is trying to do, and it's massive. It's much bigger than just Jira.
Yeah. So what's something you did early on that you would never do again? I know you shared a lot of great experiences, but is there anything that you've done that you're like, oh, I'm never ever going to do that again?
Yeah. Being carried away by over-customizing. Just because the customer is asking certain requirements, now I spend much more time on, I understand the requirements, but I want to inform you the consequences of doing what you're asking for. The heavy customizations that the customer is going to be dependent on me or one of my colleagues for the years to come. And well, don't get me wrong, that's great business, but I personally, one of the things that I love most about my job is that I can rotate from customer to customer, take the learnings from one customer, apply to the next. And if I'm stuck with the same customer for multiple years, that I feel it drags me down on my career path. So it's one of the biggest mistakes that I've done was been over customizing and getting the customer to be relying on me for the years to come.
Interesting. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. So let's focus on the level up here. What's one lesson that fundamentally changed how you operate today?
It has to be a lot with the AI. So the moment, I've tried AI like everyone. I was pretty early when ChatGPT came up. I pretty early jumped on it, started using it for a lot of simple things. The moment when those tools started becoming extremely useful at work, that increased my productivity a lot. Now I have the time to sit down with customers, discuss it, because the time to execution now is much shorter. So if I'm, for example, talking with a customer that has a certain need, they need a new feature, in Jira for some reason, or they are building a new app and they need help, I can spend more time discussing the requirements of the app, the consequences of not doing, the risk, and so on, because I know that the time to execute the app is going to be much shorter.
That's great. That's amazing. It's crazy how everything's changed with AI and
Absolutely.
increased productivity. Such a positive tool. Paulo, if someone is trying to get to that next level right now and step into a career similar to yours, what should they focus on that actually moves the needle? So if there's one piece of advice that you could give our watchers and our listeners, what would it be?
I think it's very important to try, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here today. It's very important to be ahead of the curve. I have been on this. I've been an Atlassian consultant for a little bit over 7 years now. I've been using Atlassian products and administrating for over 13 years now. And I think throughout that career, so far I've been, I would say, 2 to 3 years behind. So Atlassian launches a new product, I would start using it 2 or 3 years later. Now I am finally in a position that I, for example, build certain features with Forge apps, and then within a month or two, Atlassian decides to actually build that baked into the product. I was having a great discussion with Sharif from Atlassian today about how we can surface agents more in Jira, so people don't have to go and click around to find which agent should they use. And it's when I showcase what I've done with Forge to Sharif said, "Wow, we're actually brainstorming this right now."
That's crazy.
So,
see?
yeah,
that's
it's very rewarding to try to be ahead of the curve.
Absolutely.
Because yes, it might not give you business or work right away.
Immediate,
because a lot of our customers honestly are not ahead of the curve. They are a few months or years behind.
Exactly.
So Atlassian is launching new products. Some of my customers will maybe adopt them in 3-4 years from now. But being able to be ahead and being able to, help the customers be on the path where they can seamlessly adopt those products later, it's one of the things. For example, I've been working a lot with hardware asset management, built tools for this, heavy customizations and so on. Atlassian just announced hardware asset management natively in Jira. So I'm very happy to be able to migrate everything that I've done and do that natively on the Atlassian platform.
That's so rewarding and
exactly.
Right?
And now I can, because I learned about it already, I can already prepare my customers to design their asset schemas and so on to be prepared to adopt hardware asset management.
Paulo, you're already ahead of the curve, right? Yeah, that's awesome. So where can people connect with you and learn more about what you're doing? Because you're working on a lot of great things, and I'm sure people, if they want to connect with you.
Yeah, so I'm also a community champion. So I lead events together with 2 more friends in Oslo. We lead events. So we organize events, Atlassian community events, 4 to 5 times per year in Oslo, Norway. I'm also active on LinkedIn. People can find me on LinkedIn, constantly posting updates from Atlassian. For my sake, reading updates from the people that I follow, but for my sake, also announcing updates that are relevant for my customers. It's a good place to be connected, and yeah.
Perfect. And final, what's next? Anything exciting on the horizon that you can share that's happening at Computas Opus?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting now the change from, Atlassian is really gearing the partners towards adding value to our customers, more into services, less into resale of licenses, which, let's be honest, never been a fun job to do. It's very interesting now that with the help of Atlassian and with the help of our customers, we're designing services that are valuable for most of our customers.
That's great.
And services, I think it's where we really add value.
Totally. That's great. Well, Paulo, thank you so much for being on the Back Up to Level Up podcast. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to see what's going to happen next for you and Computas Opus.
Yeah, thank you very much.